In today's chess video, I'll be telling you the reason why you're stuck under 1000 rating and how easy it is to get out of there with just a few simple tips coming straight up. But before we do that, I have an exciting announcement for everybody, and that's that my speedrun account has been approved by chess.com, and I'll begin my speedrun account extremely soon, and I'll be able to show you guys starting from a very low rating. I'm hoping around maybe 600 rating to improve my rating all the way up to my current rating-ish on chess.com, which is around 2300. Back to the content of this video. If you guys haven't watched my video on how to get over 1000 rating, you guys can check that video over there. But in summary, that video talks about the two important questions to ask after every one of your opponent's move and at every single one of your proposed own moves. And the two questions are very simple. They are, what is my opponent doing? And is my move safe? If you ask those questions religiously and vigorously after every single one of the moves I just mentioned, then there's really no way that you can really make a mistake. But that's not the emphasis of today's video. The emphasis of today's video is going to be on a different topic. And that topic is, I think, a pretty important, just as important as those two questions that I mentioned before. And that is the mindset that I see a lot of people have when they're playing chess, especially when they're under 1000 rating. And this can even apply all the way up to like 2000, 2200. And that's the mindset that chess is not a strategic game, but that chess is a tactical game. And this mindset is a very bad mindset when you're playing chess. Because when we're all beginners, what do we first learn? We learn the ABCs of chess, we learn how to attack the center, bring out the pieces, and castle the king. But the thing that most teachers teach next are tactics. And because all we're ever exposed to are the forks, the pins, the skewers, and all these super cool things that we all learn as younger people, and as we were still growing chess players, this is all we come to know when we're playing chess. Oh, how can I play a fork against my opponent? How can I do a pin? How can I do a skewer to win the opponent's queen? But having this mindset is very dangerous as you're getting better and better, because having this mindset and having it work, which it definitely will work if you're under 1000 rating, because nobody's actually looking out for what their opponent is doing, you get this positive reinforcement by just playing for tactics. You're winning quite a bit. So what do I mean by that? So I see a lot of beginners when they're playing, let me set up an analysis board. When they're playing, they do moves like this. Moves like these are very fine, they're very normal. But after something like this, bishop c5 move, I see a lot of beginners who are up to like 1200, I see, still playing knight g5 in positions like these. And after a simple thought, you guys might be thinking, wait a second, that's just a free knight. But you guys can already see where this mindset comes from, why this knight g5 move is so popular among beginners and people under 1000 rating. And the reason is because how many games have their opponents play knight f6, knight g5, and after a move like, I don't know, their opponent plays queen e7, this is a very common move, the white player just gets a huge advantage immediately because their opponent can't defend the f7 pawn properly because they're not good. They can also play things like this, in which they play d5, and because they love fried liver, they take on f7. After king captures, queen f3 check, king to e8, bishop takes d5, and they just win the game here. I understand king to e6 is the best move, but most beginners play king to e8 just to keep the king safe, but this is absolutely losing, as you can tell by the weak light squares of black and, down material and the whatnot. So because of this positive reinforcements, because of moves like knight g5 working all the time, they get into the bad habit of thinking knight g5 is the win condition in many positions. And because of that, they just keep playing moves like knight g5, even though they're terrible, absolutely atrocious, and should not be played in most positions. In fact, I've seen people, after, let's just say their opponent plays bishop c5, they castle, opponent plays knight f6. In this position over here, I've seen so many people play knight g5, and this move is very bad because your opponent wants the castle, and then if you trade off the two pieces for the rook, generally two pieces are better than the rook, especially in the middle game where the pieces can do stuff. So this knight g5 move is just one example of what I'm trying to talk about and the wrong mindset that I see a lot of people have. They play for tactics, and when the tactics work, they feel good about themselves because, hey, well, I'm a good player. I played a tactic, my opponent didn't see it, but then, and so I won. So what I want people to understand in today's video that I think is so very important is that chess is not a luck-based game. It's not a tactical game, but it's a strategic game where you make a plan. You basically build up your advantage. You build it up all the way until the final blow, which is the tactic, because your opponent can't hold it back, can't hold back your position, the strength of your position for too long. So what do I mean? Let me show you a game that I'm going to be playing right now. I'll just play a random person over here, someone who's around the rating that I just mentioned. Let's do this 1200 guy. Now, I understand 1200 is above 1000. My ratings, my math isn't that bad. But the point I'm trying to prove stays the same. Even at 1200, people still make very simple mistakes that we can take advantage of, right? So I'll show you this game. I'm going to be playing against this guy. I'm going to give you guys some live commentary to show you guys the simple mistakes people make under 1000. Like already here, this is just kind of silly. My opponent just gives me a huge weakness for me to attack. His rook is also under attack as well. Like, these are mistakes that you really can't be making, right? Against stronger players. And the reason why I'm able to take advantage of this is because I understand that this is a long-term weakness by my opponent, right? He created a long-term weakness that I can attack. And I understand that to my opponent, this probably doesn't matter one bit because all he cares about is probably tactics and such. But for me, this is going to be my win condition, taking advantage of these three pawns so I can win the game. He also has some problems in terms of his uncastled king, which I would say is also a pretty big problem as well. But that's beside the point. That is beside the point. C6 doesn't develop a piece, nor does it try to get his king castle. So this move is complete garbage, not very good. Let's just play queen all the way to h5. Still threatening f7. He still can't play d5, so which is the reason why c6 doesn't seem like very good of a move. But we'll see what our opponent does. He hasn't made any major mistakes. Alright, so he trades off his bishop. Now I do have some weaknesses here, which might be a slight problem in the future. But again, his problem isn't just his long-term weaknesses, which I can just, capture on the very next move. Like, just capture like this way, which I'm very inclined to do so right now. Alright, I guess I'll do it. Free pawn is a free pawn, right? And he's trying to play some bishop h3 ideas, but unluckily for him, it doesn't work because, well, my queen is here. Who knows? He might play it anyways. Now you might think, oh, isn't that a free pawn? The answer, obviously not, because, well, my rook can capture and then life is good. So in this position, I'm thinking of actually like a move like, okay, I can do a queen check actually. Let's do a queen check. Queen check. See what he's going to do here. Is he going to trade queens? Is he going to block with a rook? What is my opponent going to do here? If he blocks with rook, that shows that he wants to castle queenside. If he wants to trade queens, I'm completely fine with that because I am up material here. So because he does this move, I'm able to play this move over here, rook to b1, basically set up my attack against his opponent, against my opponent's king, because it's clear that my opponent is trying to castle this direction. So let's swing my pieces across and start the attack against his king. Should I play this move? Let me think. Should I play f3 to make sure everything's defended first? Let's just play queen here. Can't hurt. Queen there and just check him if he plays pawn b6. And just play a4, a5 strategies. I mean, I can just play pawn g3 and just defend most things. On my king's side, I can even play f3, rook f2, and most things are defended anyways as well. He has to remember his a7 pawn's kind of under attack. So he just ignores it. He's trying to take here, which is understandable. Now, is that a risk I'm willing to take? Take here, calculate, rook takes g2, king here. And what does he have from there? He might try queen h4 check. Then queen h4, then I take, no, I can check him over here. King goes here, then I back rank him. Like, this is kind of a back rank thing. It seems like a risk, and I don't know if I want to take that risk. I don't know if it's worth it. But Actually, I think it's pretty good because I don't see... Oh no, he has this cool move. Rook takes king here, rook takes here, rook takes king, queen here, checkmate. So I have to play pawn g3. And I'm defending for now. And he still has an attack against his king that he has to defend against. So that was a cool tactic my opponent could have done against me if I hadn't seen it. See what my opponent tries to do now. No clues what he's trying to do. So he plays there. He allows me to take on a7. I'll just take here because I have threats, right? Queen takes and then rook takes here. That's a pretty big threat. It is called checkmate. I also have this threat to take here. Opponent should have just played like b6 or king b8, something like that, just to defend his king. We're playing simple moves, making sure we don't blunder pieces, making sure we don't blunder checkmates. Now this 1200 isn't exactly playing like an 800, which makes sense. He's a 1200. So he's going for plans, which I'm very happy to see from him. He's not playing that badly. Alright, so this allows me to take here, rook takes here, take his queen. And we win the game. So we can pre-move this, and we can pre-move checkmate in one. And my opponent loses by timeout. Now, so going through this game, what I like to focus on is basically some mistakes that my opponents just make, like positional mistakes, because they're not really thinking positionally, but just thinking tactically. In this position, they say, "Oh, I've seen these positions before, in which knight goes to g5, and then they take on f7. So I'm going to play knight h6 to counter that." Is knight h6 a good move? Absolutely not. It's a completely garbage position, positionally, because sure, you defend against tactics against f7, but this is really bad for the idea that, hey, I can take on h6. I can create huge weaknesses in my opponent's position. And what does my opponent have in return? Nothing really. He's not able to castle. His pieces are not developed. I win a pawn. And then I just start an attack against this king. And sure, my opponent's good at looking for tactics. He saw this pretty cool tactic in which I take here. But then he just started tunnel visioning on himself. And so all he did was saw, hey, I can do tactics against you, but he didn't see any of the tactics I could do against him. And that led to his downfall. And so again, in summary, in today's video, what I really want to focus on for everybody and make sure everybody understands completely is that think of chess as a strategic game than as a tactical game. Position over tactics. Strategy over tactics. And if you do that, you guys will see your rating slowly improve and actually increase. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's keeping people not even just under 1,000, but keeping people under that 1,400 level as well. As it is at that point that I see people starting to realize that plans are very important, much more important than tactics, as it is strategy that leads to a tactic instead of tactics that lead to your overall strategy. If this video or any of my other videos helped you guys out and improved your rating, make sure to tell me in the comment section below, as I love seeing people's success stories, especially if I'm the one who was able to help them out. If not, feel free to tell me what you guys need for me to help you guys learn. And if you guys want to watch a video in which I teach you guys how to analyze your own chess games, that's a great video for you guys over there. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.